This is VOA News via remote. I'm Tommy McNeil. Two men on Saturday fired at troops at a Russian military firing range near Ukraine, killing 11, wounding 15 others before getting killed, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The ministry said in a statement that the shooting took place in the Belgorod region in southwestern Russia that borders Ukraine. It said that the two men from an unnamed ex-Soviet nation fired on soldiers doing target practice and were killed by return fire. The ministry called the incident a terrorist attack. The shooting comes amid a hasty mobilization ordered by Russian President Vladimir Putin to beef up Russian forces in Ukraine, a move that triggered protests and caused hundreds of thousands to flee Russia. Putin said on Friday that over 220,000 reservists already had been called up as part of an effort to recruit 300,000, even though the Russian leader declared that only people who had recently served in the military will be subject to the call-up. Activists and rights groups reported military conscription offices rounding up people without any army experience, some of whom were also unfit for service for medical reasons. Regions of southern Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin annexed are seeing more heavy fighting. Ukrainian soldiers pressed a ground campaign to recapture one, and Russian forces exploded long-range missiles and Iranian-made drones in another on Saturday. Ukraine's power grid operator said a missile strike also seriously damaged a key energy facility in Ukraine's capital region. Following mounting setbacks, the Russian military has worked to cut off power and water in far-flung, populated areas. This is VOA News. Funerals for miners killed in a coal mine explosion in northern Turkey began Saturday as officials raised the death toll to at least 41. Desperate relatives had waited all night in the cold outside the state-owned Turkish hard coal enterprises in the town of Amasra and the Black Sea coastal province of Bartın, hoping for news. There were 110 miners working several hundred meters below ground at the time of the explosion Friday evening. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan arrived at the scene and said that the body of a missing miner had finally been reached, confirming 41 were dead. Erdogan was flanked by officials, miners, and rescuers as he vowed to bring an end to mining disasters while saying he believes in fate. A huge fire has been blazing at a notorious Iranian prison where political prisoners and anti-government activists are kept in the capital. Online videos and local media also reported gunshots in the area on Saturday as nationwide protests entered a fifth week. Iran's state-run news agency says that there were clashes between prisoners and one ward and prison personnel, citing a senior security official. That official was quoted as saying prisoners set fire to a warehouse full of prison uniforms, which caused the blaze. A U.S.-based rights monitor says an armed conflict had broken out inside the prison. Protests in Iran have entered a fifth week, with demonstrations intensifying in some cities and along main streets and at universities across the country. Pakistan is pushing back against a comment by U.S. President Joe Biden, which he called the South Asian country one of the most dangerous nations in the world. The foreign ministry summoned the U.S. ambassador for an explanation, and two former prime ministers rejected the statement as baseless. Biden was at an informal fundraising dinner at a private residence in Los Angeles Thursday, sponsored by the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, when he made the comments. Pakistan and the U.S. have traditionally been allies, but the relationship has been rocky at times. Britain's new Treasury chief has acknowledged mistakes made by his predecessor and suggested that he may reverse much of Conservative Prime Minister Liz Truss's tax-cutting plans in order to bring stability to the country after weeks of economic and political turbulence. Jeremy Hunt was brought in Friday to replace Kwasi Kwarteng and restore order in Truss's administration. He warned of difficult decisions to come, saying taxes could rise and public spending budgets would likely be squeezed further. Via remote, I'm Tommy McNeil, VOA News.